Okay, welcome to Scandinavian Alps Coffee Roasters. My name's Adrian, roaster founder, and this is Ole Kristian Bøen, Norwegian Brewers champion of 2020, who's joined us today for this lovely video we're going to do. The goal of these is to showcase for subscription members when a new coffee comes in. Ole is going to show you kind of his thoughts and methods of how he approaches how to brew the coffee, which will help you at home to brew better coffee at home.
Perfect. Well, let's start. First thing, we need to grind it, of course.
Yes, of course. Should we look at? Do you want to look at the coffee first and just take a look, see what you think?
We are a little bit on the coarser side here.
So, what would you classify this? Medium, light, medium?
Let's see, medium.
Medium roast, yeah.
Yeah.
And what about the process? So they got a wash. It's a wash process.
Washed processed coffee.
Alejandro Lenes is the small producer farmer.
A little bit dense. So a little bit, I would say, go a little bit coarser on the grind setting, to avoid any bitterness in the coffee,
right?
And see how it tastes.
And it was roasted. Sorry, it was roasted on the 12th, so it's quite recent.
Yeah.
Is that something different you do in terms of roast date? Like
yeah, probably if it's very fresh, I will just maybe pre-grind it like half an hour before I brew it.
Yeah.
We don't have time for that now because it will be a long video. But just maybe grind it a little bit coarser than we normally do to avoid bitterness because it's a dense varietal bourbon from Guatemala. So coarse grind setting, a little bit lower on the temperature. I would say like 90 degrees. And we'll just take it from there.
Okay, let's do that. And we're brewing on, what are we brewing today?
I think today we're brewing an Origami air dripper. You can also use a plastic V60 or something similar like that, but I will definitely go with a cone shaped dripper for this one.
Yeah, so percolation
method. Yeah.
Nice. And then what kettle you got? You got this fancy kettle.
Using a kettle with from Fellow that we can adjust the temperature.
Nice.
So that's
with the ergonomic handle.
You don't need that, but then you know that if you want to use a lower temperature, then you know what it is, what temperature it is.
Yeah. And the scale? What's the scale?
The scale is an Acaia scale, super precise. I think that's the most important thing. Maybe the people at home need. It's like good grinder, of course, but also a scale. Because if you're only using eye measures, it's very hard to be precise.
And good water.
Good water. Yeah.
And a good recipe. So yeah, let's do this. Nice. You want to grind it on the EK?
Yeah, let's do it.
So brew recipe, what are you thinking?
Water. Like we both want to have a couple of coffees, like 20 grams to 300 grams of water.
Okay, let's do it. Yeah. And then what grind size are you thinking? So you're thinking medium fine or?
I would say like.
EK. So we have an EK grinder, which is, it's more of a cafe or you'd see in a roastery. It's a bit of an investment, the Mahlkonig grinder, but for people at home, I guess most people have like a Wilfa or Fellow who has a grinder. Yeah, how does it smell?
Chocolate, I would say.
It's pretty intense.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very, very freshly roasted. So I think that's one thing for people at home is when you get the coffee, it's going to change, right? Like from the minute you start brewing it every day, it seems to get better for the first, I don't know, maybe, 10, 15 days?
Yeah.
And then depending how you store it, it will start to fade slowly, but I think fresh is king, but maybe not too fresh, right?
No, that's important. If you have it too fresh, you can get a little bit of vegetables.
Yeah,
some green coming out. So that's not taste you want in coffee.
Yeah.
So if you have we like fresh coffees, but of course maybe not too fresh.
Yeah, I also sometimes get like almost like soda water, or is this kind of bubble soda water flavor, just because it's so fresh and the CO2's. There's about 5 liters of CO2 coming off per kilo, so you can imagine. Yeah, but it smells lovely.
It smells good.
All right, let's brew it. So it's 20 grams of coffee to, what do you say, 300 grams water?
Doing a coarse ground setting, 20 grams of water to 300 grams of water.
Okay.
Shake the dripper a little bit, that's important because you want to have a flat bed. You also want to extract all the coffee. I think we're going around 90 degrees water.
So talk to me about the brew recipe you're doing. So I guess you're doing a bloom for the first?
I'm doing a bloom for like, this is super fresh, I would say like 40 seconds.
Okay.
If it's a little bit rested a little bit longer, then maybe 30 seconds.
Yeah.
You can see that it's bubble coming out here.
Yeah, so it's pretty fresh. Like the bloom, so the people at home, the bloom is when there's so much CO2 coming off the coffee, it's so fresh that you see this kind of blooming onion, we want to call it, like it bubbles up, right? So 40 seconds, and then your next pour will be...
And the most important thing with my next pour, it will be 60 grams up to 120.
Yeah.
So the most important thing when you're doing pour overs at home, it's like how you pour. Because if you pour like too heavy or too much on the sides or like too uneven, that's gonna affect the taste.
Right. So some agitation, but not too much.
Not too much.
Yeah. Okay, so we got the bloom, and then...
With the bloom, and then 120, and then after 110, I'm just pouring another 60 grams up to 180.
Okay.
And it's important, you can watch the coffee bed and see, and try to see if it's an even color. If that's an even color, that's a good thing.
Okay.
Because if you have like black parts in the coffee bed, that means that the coffee is not extracted.
Right. See, even I'm learning something, and I brew every day V60. I think it's one of the best, or my favorite ways, because it's kind of that ritual in the morning, you know, before you start the day and you've got a couple minutes, you know, the kids have woken up, but you can still have time to kind of make that first cup of coffee. And it's quite fun, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think the most important thing for people, like I said, the most important thing for people brewing at home is that like trying to just try to pour as accurate as possible. And of course, if you have like a water boiler, not like a Wilson kettle, that's harder.
And then total time, what are you aiming for?
I think around 3 minutes will be good for this coffee.
Okay. And talk to me about the Origami dripper. This is a Japanese
brand. Yeah, becoming very popular. It won the Brewers Cup in like 2019.
Okay.
Then it was a new product. Now it's like everyone has it.
Okay, and it's a beautiful brewer.
Yeah, and you can use both cone-shaped filters and flatbed filters.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. This, I think.
Right. And this filter we're using, which one is it?
Using Cafec filters today.
Cafec Osmosis Flow support rainforest papers. Yeah. So why these papers? What makes these good?
Less taste of paper.
Right.
Yeah, because you have like some papers tend to taste a lot of paper. You don't want to have a papery flavor in the coffee. So we are done brewing. A little bit over 3 minutes. 3 minutes and 15.
Let's get some cups here. One here for you. Panda, you having one? 3 cups.
It's also a little bit important to just swirl the coffee a little bit if you do pour over, because for some reason the extraction is not the same. So it's important to just do like
just
this.
to kind of uniform it, the whole mixture up. Yeah. I also love just to smell the aromas.
Yeah.
The wet aromas coming off the
Definitely.
Grab me some. Yeah, it smells like definitely getting thirsty. Nice. Skål. Cheers.
Cheers.
A little hot, I guess. So I guess that's what do you do in temperature? Do you wait a bit or?
So wait a couple of minutes.
Just to let
Still drinkable, definitely.
I find as it cools down, when I first started getting into specialty coffee, like that's where the flavors kind of open up and show up. Even when it's cold, right? Like,
A lot of people say that I only drink my coffee super hot, but then I say you drink the wrong coffee.
Right. And like a good coffee, it should, I mean, ideally taste good from hot to cold, right? In terms of, so like in the summertime coming up, it's really nice to brew coffee and then I'll leave it in the fridge. Like say the last part, I'll leave it in the fridge and then brew it at lunch as a cold coffee, which is quite nice. So what are you tasting? What would you do? Would you keep it at that grind setting or would you change something for the next brew?
It's sweet, chocolatey, round. I think we almost hit the spot here.
Really nice balance. Yeah, there's acidity, but it's not over the top, which I don't like. Like it's got some, but not too much.
Yeah. So it's important not to do it too complicated at home. I think we just try to just pour accurate. I would just really recommend people to get a gooseneck kettle. Yeah. Because if you're just pouring with a hot water boiler, that's really important to pour accurate.
You can't do it. No. So it's a bit of an investment, I guess. Swan.
You don't need one. You don't need one of these with temperature measurement, and so you can use easy Harrow kettle to just set on the stove. But of course, you have more accuracy with this.
Yeah, and I like, but it's also really doubles as when you're watering plants too, right? You could just give them a water.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, this is a great. I think Guatemala was the first country origin I fell in love with. Like it was the light bulb moment where I was like, okay, I get this now. Like this is taste. Yeah. I'm tasting the farm, right? Yeah. I'm tasting the process, and I'm tasting the varietal, and the lighter, more delicate roast to be able to taste that.
Yeah. Super nice coffee, easy drinkable. You can have this for morning coffee every day.
Yeah, I could give this to my dad or grandfather. And they'd love it, right? Or at least they'd get it. It wouldn't be too much for them. Yeah, nice. So yeah, I guess that's the goal is to brew it, and then you might have to do a bit of adjusting, right? Yeah. So what would you do first in terms of you adjust the grind or the recipe, or?
I will start. The most important thing when you're adjusting something when you're brewing coffee at home is to just adjust one thing at a time. Yeah. Don't start by adjusting the temperature and the grind size at the same time or the dripper. Start with one thing, and I would say that start with the grind setting. If it's a little bit bitter, then go coarser. If it's water, it tastes like watery, then it go a little bit finer.
Yeah, that's one thing I really found when I was getting into it was just knowing where to grind, or like knowing how to adjust the grind. Right? Like what should I do? So I think now I just keep grinding finer until I hit bitter. And then once I find like it's too harsh or some bitterness, I'll back off the grind just like one notch and then go from there. Yeah. But in terms of bitterness, what is bitterness? Because everyone, I think that's almost like a lost, or a bit of a myth. Like people think it's sour, or what is your definition of bitter?
I would say that the complicated answer to that is over extraction, but not everyone understands extraction.
Yeah, but what is the flavor of bitter?
The bitter is like bitter is not necessarily negative, because if we eat like a high quality dark chocolate, that will taste bitter, but it's still good. Yeah. But if it's bitter, like if you have it like back on your tongue.
Yeah,
on your tongue. Yeah. And you just feel it. You cannot get it away. Then we push the coffee too far, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. So like if you try olive oil, people who drink olive oil, or not drink it but make it for food or your salads and whatnot, just take a spoon of that and taste the olive oil. You should get a little bit of tingling at the back of the throat, which is bitterness, right? Like this kind of unpleasant. Astringent kind of flavor. So if you're getting that in the coffee, then something needs to adjust. And then in terms of going the other way, of course. Yeah. So you're getting sourness, or what else would you get if it's under extracted?
And a little bit watery, and just
watery. Then you would change the grind there. Yeah. I think if I were to choose between bitter, or what would you choose? But if you had to choose between a little bit over or under, what's your?
That's a good question. I would say a little bit over, maybe.
Yeah, I think too. I think there's something about sourness. Yeah. It doesn't really work. Whereas if it's a little bit bitter, like dark chocolate, it's okay. a little bit of bitterness, but
if you drink espresso, that's very often bitter.
yeah.
We still drink espresso.
I mean, there is bitterness in coffee, right? Because it is coming from a plant, a fruit, which that's its mechanism to defend itself from pests and bugs, right? So there is going to be some sort of hint of bitterness, I guess, but not too much, right? Yeah. So balance.
It's all about finding the sweet spot and finding the balance.
And that's the hard part, and that's why we're doing these videos, so people at home can kind of, know where to adjust and how, so adjust the grind first. What would be next after that?
Adjust the water temperature.
Okay, water temperature?
Yeah. If you extract too much, it's affecting the coffee the same way. If you're going too high on the temperature, you can also extract too much. Then you have the same effect on the coffee and get bitter. So I just maybe go a little bit. My range in temperature is like from 90 to 95, depending on the roast, the varietal, how fresh it is. But for a coffee like this, like medium light roast, I would say like start with 90. If you extract enough with that, that's fine. But if you want to push it a little bit more fruitiness out of it, maybe go up to 93, 94.
Okay. So you got grind, temperature, and then anything after that, or you just keep it to those two?
Yeah, probably. You can also, of course, adjust the ratio. If you want a stronger cup, then just use maybe like 22 grams to 300 grams of water.
Okay.
Or if you want a like little lighter cup, maybe you can go down to 18 grams. Yeah. So that's. But like we talked about earlier, just start with one thing at a time. Yeah,
keep it simple.
Yeah.
I always do when I'm brewing, like say a French press, or for people getting into specialty, and because since their taste buds are a little bit calibrated to a stronger cup of coffee, I'll always say, like up your dose, like go a little bit more coffee to your water ratio, just so you can get some more, not intensity, but just it feels a little bit stronger. Not that that's a flavor, but. So it's not, because I think a lot of people think can be a bit light, the flavors in specialty coffee, especially when it's too hot.
Definitely.
The temperature, so that's
so if I were to brew to coffee to maybe my father-in-law, maybe I said I will go up to 22 grams of coffee instead of 20.
Yeah.
Because then you have a little bit more taste. Do the same thing, same recipe, just a little bit more taste, a little bit more like, More punch.
More punch, more oomph, more punch, So, nice. Well, that's, I think that kind of, did you have any more questions or anything else you wanted to?
I just think that for people trying at home, try to pour accurate. Yeah. Maybe just for fun, try to pour accurate once and do the same coffee again with the same recipe and the same thing you do. Just pour uneven and feel the taste. It's a big difference.
Yeah, I think taste is the key. Like taste and then adjust, right? Yeah. Taste, adjust.
Yeah.
So just to review, so it's 20 grams of coffee to
300 grams of water.
300 grams of water.
90 degrees water. And we had like 4 or 5 pours.
And if people don't have a temperature kettle, I guess off boil.
Off boil, no, it's too hot. I'll say too hot. If you go off boil, then you're just risking over extracting the coffee. So I say wait like 1 minute.
Okay, so a minute off boil if you don't have like a temperature kettle.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else?
Nice coffee.
Yeah, and buy some fresh coffee. So any local, or support the local coffee roaster out there. Yeah. Nice. Well, that's the brew video, guys. Thanks for. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have any questions, comments, you could just add those below. And we're gonna keep making these. Yes, this is the first one, so it's a pilot. It's a pilot version, but the goal is to make them a little bit better every time, just like your coffee at home, hopefully. So thanks for having us.